Good morning, guys. Today is Saturday the 20th of January, very early in the morning. I say very early, it's about 20 past 8, which isn't early for traders, let's be honest. But for a Saturday on the weekend, this is early. This is the time that you should still be in bed, you should be chilling out. I'm not into all of this grind set, hustle culture, getting up at 5 a.m, going for cold showers and all that kind of stuff. I want to be in bed, chilling at this time. But we're on our way to the event space in which we're holding our first ever live event for beginners. Now, many of you will know if you've been following the channel for a while, beginners education is not something that KB does. We done beginners education way back at the start when we first opened KB. We produced beginners courses and that kind of thing, but it's not something we visited in literally years. Our focus has been on intermediate to professional traders and coaching those guys up to get funded and earn consistent profits from the markets, basically. So a good friend of mine who actually runs a training business, not trading, training, he said to me recently, why don't we put on a live event for beginners in our event space and see what we do, basically. And so I thought, yeah, okay. So that's exactly what we're heading to do today. It's 5-10 minutes away from where I actually live. So it's, just 5 minutes outside of Glasgow because I live pretty much in the city centre. So we're heading there now. It looks like we're going to have somewhere between 20 and 30 people coming along to this event, as well as, a good few members from KB and that kind of thing as well, coming up just to hang out basically and catch up. So I thought we'd do a bit of a day in the life. We're not going to be necessarily doing any trading. You're more going to see the training side of KB, teaching students and all that kind of stuff. But look, we're going to be meeting people who I've mentored and taught in KB for years and brought to consistent profitability and that kind of thing. So why not document that on YouTube? So myself and James have just picked up some Starbucks. Please don't cancel me. And yeah, we're just heading over to the event space. So I'll catch up with you guys when we're I would estimate out of the bullish equivalent of this, the hammer, and the shooting star, which is the bearish equivalent, I would estimate I made 65% of my money last year exclusively off of the bullish and bearish equivalent of this pattern. One candle. Everybody's like, oh, what's happening here and all that. One candle, okay? Now, this is the beauty about picking something basic, right? When you have something super simple like that occurs relatively frequently, what can I go and do? I can go and investigate it. Now you're looking at this like Excel data and all that. As I say, we do this stuff so that people like you don't have to. But I want to draw your attention to this little statistic in here. Probability of hammer achieving 1 times the range, 59%. Don't sell my stats on eBay. Right? Probability of a hammer achieving 1 times the range, 59%. What is that called? Edge. Right? What does that stat mean? It means if, for example, a hammer candle equals, well, we won't do equals, we'll do from high to low equals, anybody who's done graphic communication in school understands what this line is. Let's say that equals 120 pips. Pips is just price interest points, just a measure of movement. You could talk about ticks, you could talk about points, whatever you want. Let's say that equals 120 pips. What is this stat telling me? The probability of that now traveling 120 pips in that direction equals, what's it equal? 59%. We've got edge. Right? Now you can see I've got a lot of other data on there. Why might I want to gather data like probability of a hammer failing? A failure would be if instead of it going in my direction, it came down and tagged the bottom. In which case?
welcome. Yeah? Struggle getting up this morning? I'm kidding on. So why might I want to know the probability of it failing? To see if I can trade it the other way. I know it's only a 33%, right? I can begin to delve into the stats of what would increase this probability of it failing. Perhaps if price comes in and tags this level, there's now a 60% chance of it coming down there. Now there's edge that way. So if I'm trying to get long on this with a 59% edge and it goes against me and it gets to here, I can flip and get in the other way. This is the beauty of having something so simple, as you can gather all the data and you can do as much with it as you want. You can see I've gathered about 1,000,001 stats. The only one I want you to consider is that 59% there, right? Because when we get on to the next slide here, what do you know? It travels 1 times the range. So had we got in at the close there, stop under the low, aim for 1 times the range, we've made money. Now we've made 1 to 1, so a 1 to 1 trade. Risk is 1, reward is 1. This is where lower time frames come in. We'd start looking on lower time frames for better entries and stuff so you could increase your payoff. So, Andrew, if you just want to let us know a bit about your journey, where you've been, the types of things you've done, and that kind of thing, and where you're at now.
Okay. Well, I got into the markets around about 2019, just having a sort of play about on demo accounts, as most folk do, and then moved into sort of live, pretty much where a lot of people do when sort of COVID kicked in. I started playing about, which is exactly what it was, because it was playing about. On Trading 212, made a bit of money on CFDs, going long tech companies at the point, because obviously COVID, tech companies going to make money on everyone going remote. So I made a bit of money on that, and then really started to dig into it more after that. Obviously, when things started to recover, found out different brokers and things, found out that Trading 212 wasn't the best way to go. Then obviously, like everyone does, you kind of start looking at funding, and you start trying to see what the best one would be. FTMO was still around about then, and they were the best. Obviously, like most folk, took a challenge, blew a challenge multiple times, even blew up my own money, which was the sort of main catalyst of wanting to try and really narrow it down. It's a lot of noise sometimes, and you're sitting in the markets and you're sitting sweating at your screen, like you've said. So that's when I started looking into other sort of mentors around, and that's when I found Sam's course and I took the PAC course. I ran through it a few times because sometimes things just don't settle. So I really started like maybe 3 or 4 like reviews just to really get it drilled into my head.
When was this roughly?
I started your course probably at the beginning, the midway through 2022 into 2023.
Okay.
And then I took a new FTMO challenge. Passed that. Took a swing challenge because I like to hold over the weekends.
Yeah.
So I've got the swing challenge for that one. And then, like really towards the end of last year, accelerated that with Nova accounts and the Next Step funded account. So right now I'm currently sitting with 7 figures with another FTMO challenge sitting in the wings.
Fantastic. Guys, let's just give a little round of applause at that juncture.
And these actual payouts were from the last November, December. So
wait, so this is only 2 months?
Literally just 2 months of payouts, yeah.
Okay.
And then it's been a start of a good year as well.
So tell me, how much, if you're comfortable, of course, do you reckon you've taken from funded accounts really in the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months?
In the last 6 months, probably around about 60K.
60K?
Yep.
I was thinking like 30. I was thinking about half of that. That's absolutely phenomenal, Andrew. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. If you give any practical trading advice, right? Somebody who's in a position that you were once in, you're sitting there, you're looking at the markets, you don't really know what you're doing in the markets. If you could give a couple of points, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot there, a couple of points of practical trading wisdom from somebody who's done phenomenal. I mean, 60K in 6 months, that's like 10K a month, pretty much. Phenomenal.
It really is, like risk management is 100% the biggest thing that you can sort of drill into yourself, and really, like you said, don't touch your stop losses, because I've seen friends of mine as well. They have a stop loss, but they move it back and forth down, thinking, okay, I'll just put it down a bit further.
Give it a bit more space.
Give it a bit more breathing room.
Yeah.
It breathes too much.
Yeah.
And then away it goes. Or the trade does work eventually, and they went, see, I'm right. But it's like, yeah, but you weren't really.
You took some heat on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, as well as find a good mentor with a verifiable track record, because out there on FinTwit there is an absolute ton of people who are just charlatans.
Well, listen, Andrew, as I've alluded to, and as I'm sure you know what's coming, we decided to get you, as we do when our members hit, big figures, whether it be 6 figures, whether it be 5 figures, all the rest of it, we get trophies made for them. Now, I'm actually due you another trophy, because this is not a trophy for over 50k, this is just 5 figures. The barriers that we look for is when someone hits 5 figures in payouts, they get a 5-figure earner club trophy. When they hit 50k in payouts, they get a 50k club trophy. I didn't realize you'd breached 50k. So I'm due you another trophy, but right now, Andrew, I'd like to give you, and if I drop this, I'm not getting you another one. I'd like to give you this.
Perfect. Amazing.
Smile and say hi to James there.
Hi.
You all good? Fantastic. Andrew, let me give you the case for that so that you don't break it on the way home.
It properly.
Okay. Put it in there, keep it safe. Put it next to your trading setup.
It will be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
So that wraps up our first ever comprehensive beginners event. It went absolutely fantastic. It was great to see not only some of our KB members here, but people who had never ever traded before. So we're just getting wrapped up here, and we're gonna head out for a little bit of downtime, relax with some of the guys. Catch you there.